Hello, and welcome back to my closet. My name is Bridger Frederick. I am a T10 paraplegic from a car crash, spinal cord injury, about 2.5 years ago, complete. I'm in a wheelchair permanently, and we are in my closet together. And that's because it's the only place in my house that has good sound. So just thought it required a little bit of a scoot back so I'm not like in the frame. A little explanation while we're hanging out in here. And I was just coming on here today to talk about something that has really helped me as far as making incremental progress in healing my spinal cord and getting back to walking again. I really do believe that I'll be able to walk, run, jump, everything as good as I ever could someday. I believe to the core of my being that that is possible. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today, is how everything changes in your life when you change your perspective. And I don't think it's delusional or like some sort of mental trickery. I think it actually is like a cause and effect situation. So let me try to explain. So I, more than just believing that I will, and this is like the basic principle of Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It's like the basis for every person out there is who's talks about achieving what you want in life in some way spins off or references or goes back to this book. It's fantastic. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite books in the world. The story about when I discovered that book is actually kind of interesting. I'll just touch on it briefly. I was cycling around Africa, camping and living and hanging out in random places in Namibia at the time, and I was staying in this town and had met a fantastic guy, absolutely one of the greatest people I've ever met, this Namibian guy who took me in with his family and was showing me the ropes in his local town of Walvis Bay. And we went in to get a haircut at this barber shop, and I left my backpack in his truck, and he went to lock it. But apparently if you hold like a garage door opener down when someone goes to lock their truck, it'll actually prevent it from locking, I guess. And yeah, someone stole my backpack out of it, and it had my passport, all of my money, and most importantly, it had like all of these notebooks that had months and months of everyday journals while I was cycling around Africa and having all these revolutionary thoughts and feelings. And I had written part of a fiction book in there, so it was devastating. Like, I was very sad. I immediately it was heart-wrenching. Like everything I had, everything critical in my life was in that, namely passport, money, and all of those journals, and some other sentimental stuff. But anyways, it was gut-wrenching. Like I couldn't even describe to you how angry I was. And like, we were kind of right on the edge of like the town, and there was a big like, I don't know how else to say it, like a slum area. I mean, a very low income area. Like, it was made of tin and wood and pieced together, and there was like, open sewage, and it was just like a pretty rough part of town. And it was sprawling and huge, and we drove around and looked for someone. It was an orange North Face backpack. Looked for someone wearing this worn out orange backpack that I'd had for years. The backpack was actually quite sentimental as well. I'd been to like so many countries with my dad since I was like 18. I'm like 23 or so at this point. And so lost everything, and I just was fuming. I was like, those journals meant everything in the world to me. I can't even, when I say a lot, I mean like 1,400 pages of journals. I mean, pages, and so many journals from at least a year and a half of traveling, a long time. Devastating, irreplaceable thing to lose. And I was so furious, and I was just like didn't know what to do. At least I had some cash in my pocket, so all my money wasn't gone. But I mean, I had literally like $100 or something, and I was just I can't remember where we stopped or why, but we stopped at like a little strip mall for some reason, and I was like just wandering around there, so angry, and wandered into like a little like it was a multi like puzzles and games and books, like just a random little store with all sorts of like travel stuff, like neck pillows. Like it looked like a place you'd find in the airport, to be honest. Like kind of like snacks and stuff. And I happened upon that book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I read the back of it. I had heard of it maybe, but I'd never read it, had no exposure to it, didn't really know anything about it. And I grabbed that book, and it was probably, looking back, like I couldn't be more grateful at the timing of it and the fact that that person stole my backpack. And it was just absolutely phenomenal that it came into my life at that time. And I'm only now just realizing as I say it how ironic this that was a book, and that was a book that came into my life. How ironic it is in relationship to this story. I didn't plan this out. It was just kind of a thought floating around my head. Thought I'd record, and here we are. And so the relevance is so I got that book, and it just changed everything. Changed my whole view of the world. Changed my whole outlook. It really shifted my perspective on what was possible for me and what I expected in my life, what I wanted in my life, and how I was going to attain it. And I went full in and, really did all the stuff in the book, wrote all of my, how much wealth I wanted to have, and read it and how I was going to get it and all this stuff. And unfortunately, lo and behold, months and went by, and I fell off the wagon and stopped doing that stuff and got into other books and just totally dropped the ball on that. But that's not the significant part. The significant part is how those lessons have been implemented into my life post spinal cord injury, and especially recently, now that I've finally got like my health a little bit under control. I just was so sick digestively for like the first, like I was I mean, I was using tons of opiates and painkillers and muscle relaxers and stuff for the first few months I was injured, because I had like a spinal infection and was just down and out for the count, and it was COVID. And so that time was kind of a bit of a lost batch of time as far as productivity goes. I wrote a book during that time. That was like my main focus, was I wrote a fiction deal, but I didn't put it, I just wrote it physically in notebooks. Like I didn't put it into typing or send it to anyone or like really finalize it. And so I just was all over the place. And then after that, I had a massive surgery removing all the hardware from my back. And then once I was kind of recovering from that, I started getting these really, really bad digestive symptoms, and have been basically sick for the whole rest of the time up until about 5 or 6 months ago. And I'm now just fully regaining my energy, vitality, health, and drive and desire to really capture everything I want in life. And so where I'm going with this is, so that mentality of think and grow rich, it's the secret. It's the idea that your thoughts create your reality, and you have to basically think yourself to wealth. And with the spinal cord injury, I've gone, one step further, where I 100% have already accepted the fact that I will walk again. Like I am grateful for it. I'm excited for it every day. I already know that it's going to happen, and I feel grateful and excited and energized by that every single day. Like it's different than just believing or hoping or wishing that, it would happen. I already think and feel as though I'm able to walk in. I mean, I'm not delusional, but as a matter of fact that I'm gonna find out how. Just like as a matter of fact, I already feel like I'm a millionaire. I'm going to make $1 million. I'm going to have that money, even though I'm as broke as a person could, not as broke as a person could be, but I'm very broke compared to what I would like to be right now. Struggling financially and have just enormous cost associated with trying to heal myself. But the point is I take those things almost as fact. I mean, not almost as fact. I take them as fact. And the way that changes how you act and how you navigate the world is insane. I'm only really just now, not, now this last 4 to 8 weeks, really being able to solidify that ability in my mind, the ability to feel as though I can already walk again. And so let me explain why it's important. It's like, and it's maybe even easier with the $1 million thing, because that's a much more attainable thing. Realistically, it's not tons of people, can have made $1 million. Not as many people have gone from complete total spinal cord injury to jumping and running again. And so now that I already assume I have $1 million, I just don't have it in my bank account yet. It's out there waiting for me somewhere inside. I want to be a property investor. Like, that $1 million is in a property. I just have to see the opportunity. I have to find the property. That money is in people's pockets, people that want to pay me for my services, people that want to invest in a business idea that I have. It is already in existence. And now every day, as I navigate the day, as I go around, I'm not wondering exactly, I'm doing all the most important things that I need to do to work towards that and further my goals. But I am taking for granted that opportunity is out there. It's just my job to spot it. That my $1 million is out there. It's just my job to spot the opportunity, to talk to the right person at the right time, to answer the right phone call, to take all the little actions, these things, these pieces, to see the matrix and see the pieces and put the puzzle together. The $1 million is mine. I'm gonna have it. It's just a matter of making the opportunity possible. And I hope I'm making sense and you see how powerful that can be. And I apply the same thing to my ability to walk again. I know I'm going to walk again. I know I'm going to run again. I know I'm going to hunt and hike and jump and do everything to the fullest of my abilities that I ever had. And I know that all I have to do that is to spot the opportunities and take advantages of the things and take in the knowledge and piece the puzzle together slowly. I know that every little thing that happens throughout a day is one part of the puzzle, and it's my objective to understand how the things happening to me, things happening around me, to understand how they're the universe's way of helping me, pushing me forward. Like, even something bad happening, or like, that's how the Napoleon Hill Think and Grow Rich book and that story really ties in, is had that person not broken into that car, stolen everything that was important to me, and filled me with so much hatred and emotion, and just, I felt so hurt and betrayed and lost. Like, that writing was so important to me. I mean, like, screw the passport and the money, like, that sucked, but like, I didn't give a crap about that. I mean, I think I might have lost my phone, and I think I had my phone, but I lost a computer for sure. And it was just like, that was all the least of my worries. It was the writing, and if that devastating event hadn't occurred, I wouldn't have got Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich at a pivotal point in my life, where I was, at the time, just living alone in Africa in this crazy town of Walvis Bay in Swakopmund, staying with Andreas and his family, and it changed everything. It was a real real blessing. And it took, it was a long, long time before I felt that way about it. And at the time, it didn't make any sense. And I didn't have this perspective at the time and didn't have this philosophy of believing that life is on my side. And that's exactly what happened with. I made a video saying why I deserved to be spinal cord injured. I don't know if I fully fleshed out the concept, but this is the same, along the same line of thinking. It's not that I deserve it because of like karmic reasons. I mean, it's someone could maybe make an argument for that, but that's not necessarily what I believe. I don't think it's like a karmic thing where I deserved the pain. It was that I was so far off my path, like my destined path. And my destiny, I'm not saying it's shaped completely predetermined and everything. I'm just saying what I want to accomplish in the world, what I truly deep in my soul wants to accomplish in the world, and like what it would mean for me to be self-actualized, which is different for everyone. But I was strayed so far away and going down such a different path than what would have ever led to my true, like, deepest sense of purpose, least regret, and my full self-actualization. And I was so stubborn and so directly focused and just intensely moving in that direction. The only thing that could have arrested my momentum, that could have stopped me and really changed that flow, was something as serious as a car accident and a spinal cord injury and like complete destruction of my life. That's why I was never mad. I never spent one single millisecond of my life angry at the person who turned in front of me. Ask anyone who was around me during that time. It never even occurred to me that he like was at fault, I guess. I mean, I know he made a mistake that led to that accident, but it always felt like, just another piece in the puzzle, and that, no one maliciously chose to do this to me. It was just how the cards fell, and now I got to play the hand. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that I don't know where I would be without a perspective like this. Like, it would be so depressing and hard to live life. Like, I'm honestly, even in my most depressed post-injury periods of time, when I was like the most down I've been in my whole life, really sad, like, and going through periods of time where I was contemplating suicide, like where I wasn't really I'd never considered actually doing it because I wouldn't do that to my family, but I was like, for my own sake, like for my own purposes, I mean, like, why not? Like, this sucks so much. It was the pain. It was just the pain and the crushing frustration of not being able to do the things I loved, and just like hitting a wall over and over again, trying to solve this digestive ulcerative colitis crap that was happening to me, where I was just so depleted and hurting all the time. And it was, even in those times, and it's hard to explain it, I still like feel like was one of the happy. I still had deep appreciation for my past. I did not have regrets. I wasn't necessarily fearful for the future. I just didn't want to live it. I was just like, and this isn't going to make sense when I say this, but all that considered, I still feel as though I was like one of the happiest people I knew. Which is like, and I was miserable by my standards, but I still felt as though I was happier than most of the people I know, because I wasn't living in a constant sense of anxiety and fear and worrying about the future and regretting the past, and not like I was still, I guess it was because even though I was failing to meet my own expectations, I was still trying my best. I was trying so hard to meet them, and I was still holding on as tightly as I could to that philosophy. I hadn't clarified it in my own brain as eloquently, if you can call that. It's eloquent as I've got it. This is as eloquent as I can be, because it's still kind of forming. My philosophy is ever changing and growing and expanding and coalescing into something else, and really getting clearer and clearer and clearer. But I didn't have it as clear then as I do now. But I mean, some people believe don't have it clear at all. I mean, they don't see their dreams, and I was still grateful. I was still like, I don't know how I'm going to get through it. A huge part of me wants to give up and just off myself and get over it because it's too hard and it's just too painful. And like a part of me wants that, but I still never let go in my heart of the fact like I am going to have what I want. I'm going to have this, you know, beautiful, huge piece of wilderness property with a neurological retreat on it and get to live around my friends, family, and loved ones and provide for the people that matter most to me in the world and the people who I come across in my life who need it most. And so I never let go of that dream, and I never let go of the belief that I still could capture that. I just had to figure out how. And it's crazy to me that people exist without that idea. Like that all of your wildest dreams, the most actualized, fulfilled, rich, materially and spiritually and, you know, emotionally with the people you love. Like, I don't know how people can exist without believing that that's what they're going to get. Like, I have no idea. Like, it doesn't compute inside my brain because life is so hard. There's so many struggles. There's so many confusing things that happen. There's so many conflicting bits of information and doom and gloom and terrible possibilities, and there's so much risk involved with love and with activities. You know, there's so many risks. Like, how does someone go throughout their day without just being a ball of fear and anxiety if they don't believe that they're going to get everything that they've wanted, that heaven's right here, and that all you got to do is figure out how to create your own personal version of it by living in alignment with your values and taking actions based on that. And it's very freeing. I live most of every single day in a state of like almost giddy, happy, excited bliss. And I'm in like 7 out of 10 pain for most of my waking hours. I sleep terribly because like my back has been completely destroyed. Like I have a very large amount of physical trauma to my body that seriously impedes my ability to, I guess, relax and you know, do whatever. But it doesn't. It influences my emotions quite often, for sure. I have moments of frustration and anger, but I mean, it's so hard to stay in a state of anger when there's so much like palpable bliss and gratitude and gratefulness and excitement for the future and happiness, and like there's so much beauty to be seen. It's really hard to stay in that emotional state for very long if you train yourself to see all of the good things. And it's a training period. Like I can't even imagine how happy I'm going to be in 10 years from now, because I'm like 100 times happier than I was 10 years ago, and happier even than 10 years before that. And I was a child then, and I was more anxious, worried, fearful as a kid, you know, than I am now as an adult. And I feel like some people are on the opposite end of that spectrum, and I feel really sorry for them. So I just wanted to share. I know it might have been kind of all over the place, but I hope that there's someone out there that can get some value out of that and maybe kind of start shifting their perspective that way. Just whatever you want in your life, like whether, you know, whether it's money, a luxury house, the ability to walk again, the ability to use your arms again, to, you know, to be fully in love, to find the love of your life and have a family, like whatever it is that you think is not attainable, or that whatever it is you want, like just decide that it's yours. Decide that you're going to have that and be grateful for it. Be so grateful that you get this one beautiful life and that you get to realize and have all of your dreams come true during it. Like, just be grateful now, even though it hasn't happened. You're sitting there miserable, in pain, unable to move or do what you want, or whatever your situation is, like broke, worried about bills, worried about how you're gonna, get critical medical supplies you need, or get transportation, or get a job, or meet someone in the dating world. Like, whatever you're worried about, just, yeah, it's not happening right now, but that's not the point. You have to be grateful that you are gonna receive that, so that you can take advantage of the opportunity. If you don't think that's possible, like if you don't think it's possible to make $1 million, then you're not going to be looking for $1 million opportunities. You're going to miss it. If you don't think it's possible to walk again, you're not going to be looking for ways to do it. When some random person comes up to you and says, you should check out this thing, and you get in a conversation, you spark a conversation, they say, you should check out this, or meet this person, or meet my friend. You might not pounce on the opportunity because you won't be thinking, is this it? Is this my chance? Is this the little bit of information I need? Like, it is, as like a property investor, like, is this guy going to tell me that his aunt is terrified that the world is going to end and thinks that it's all doom and gloom, and that Biden is half lizard man that's going to bring us all into the rapture, and she wants to sell her multi-million-dollar luxury home today for $500,000, as long as, like, $500,000, and so she can move to some, whatever, crazy underground bunker society that is a $500,000 admission in, like, whatever, I don't know, wherever people do that. Probably Idaho, to be honest, or, somewhere in the Midwest. Pick a state that you fly over. And so I would never have recognized that. I would never have waited or looked for or wondered if that was an opportunity, or if I heard that they were selling their house, I'd just be like, oh, I can't afford a $500,000 house. But rather, I'm like, oh, this is my chance. Like, this is when it's happening. I'm supposed to make this money. So I'm going to, I just need to figure out how to get, whatever it is, FHA loan, 3.5% down, and start making this happen. So I don't know. It's just a way of thinking. It certainly made my life a lot more enjoyable. I really do have a very hard situation that I'm dealing with the paraplegia, but it's the least of my worries on a day-to-day basis, because I take it for granted that it's a temporary situation, and that it's actually part of my long-term solution. It was part of the puzzle, and the incredible challenge of piecing that myself back together and having to rebuild everything, and like the intense sickness and pain and suffering of having ulcerative colitis on top of that, like, and having to solve the problem and having doctors fail me, and just no support whatsoever on how to make myself better, like having to solve all that problem. Like, now those are all skills and knowledge that I've gained that are going to be a critical part of my offering as a person, and something that makes me more valuable. Now I have, increased my value in whatever way. I don't know. I think you're smart enough to get the picture and understand how this perspective shift and this little just tweak in how you look at things. And really, you are the most valuable thing in your life. Like, you are 100% put on this earth to do something beautiful and unique, and 100% only you can accomplish it. Like, you have something in you that needs to be expressed and brought to this world. And the only way to fully actualize and do that is to start believing that yourself, and know for a fact that you're loved deeply and cherished by the world, by the universe, by whatever you think exists, quantum, whatever. Like there's something out there like that really responds to your thoughts and your feelings, and it's not like you don't have to think and believe this right away for it to work. You have to train yourself to think and believe it and to start looking for opportunities. And anytime something bad happens, don't say, no, why is this happening to me? Say, why is this happening to me? Like, what do I need to learn? What am I gaining from this? Where's the opportunity? Because there is opportunities in everything. It's phenomenal how just tweaking, the inflection and how something affects you. Why is this happening to me? It's so unfair versus I wonder why this is happening to me, and be grateful it's happening because it's leading you to that ultimate goal that you have. And one thing caveat I should say is that this only works if you're following your heart and you're doing the right thing. Like it doesn't, it's completely like if your goal is, to take over the world and just start massacring some section of people that you hate, and that's like your ultimate goal, and that's like the most satisfied you ever be. The universe probably, I don't know the rules of the universe, but I think it's going to make it a little bit more like difficult than if you're truly following your dreams and your heart and your passion, and you want to express the deepest, truest form of yourself and your soul and provide the maximum value to everyone you love in your life, and bring more people who love you and whom you can love into your sphere of influence. Like it is based on and there's a lot to be said about intention behind your actions. You have to have the true good intention, and it can start from a selfish spot. You can say, I want to walk again because this sucks nuts. Like I want to walk again and not be in pain. Like it doesn't have to just be some amazing selfless thing. Like there can be a selfishness to it, but it has to still be for the right intentions. There can't be malintent in there, at least. And this is all my opinion and the accumulated knowledge that I have garnered from influencers and people and authors and speakers and leaders and whoever, like these people that and mentors that I've had personally and people I've met. Like this is all coming from like all this accumulated knowledge, and then I'm just regurgitating it in a way that makes sense to me and that I found advantageous, and that I hope someone out there does as well. So you are destined to do something absolutely one of a kind. Only you have the power to offer whatever it is to this world. So start figuring out what it is. I hope that you have an absolutely incredible rest of your day, evening, morning, whatever it is. I hope this meets you exactly when you need it. And thank you so much for taking your time to hang out in my closet with me. It was an absolute honor, and I'll catch you next time. And that's it. I'm out. Peace. Goodbye.